have my mise en place assembled here for my tart dough. In my bowl, I have my unsalted butter with my granulated sugar. My egg is whisked up, nice and homogeneous, and my all-purpose flour. My first step is to cream my butter and sugar with my paddle attachment. Make sure that your KitchenAid is locked, and you want to cream this on a medium speed. So on your KitchenAid you have 10 speeds. So a medium speed would be around 4 or 5, because we're going off of, you know, the usual 20-quart Hobart mixers where there's 3 speeds. So we're gonna bring this up to speed 2 or medium speed. And we're going to cream this until our butter and sugar is light and fluffy. Once it's light and fluffy, that means that it's aerated. Air is being incorporated into the butter and the sugar, which is lightening the color. And I will be able to add my egg, which is all ready to go. And we want to make sure that we are scraping down our bowl before we add our egg and during adding our egg, very slowly. My butter and sugar has been creaming for about 4 or 5 minutes. You can notice on my paddle attachment that there is a change in texture. So right up here is the little bit of butter that did not get incorporated because it was stuck on the paddle. But the rest of the mixture over here looks a little bit fluffier than it had when I first put the mixture in. So you want to pay attention to the color as well as the texture. And what's important is that you scrape everything down. So we want to scrape our paddle down as well as our bowl. And then I'm going to let this go about another 2 minutes. I want to make sure that all the way in the bottom of my bowl down here, that I scrape it all up and prepare it for adding my egg. But I want to make sure everything is homogeneous. That's our key here when we're baking, is making sure that everything is mixed the way it should and having patience while we're doing it to make sure that everything is correct. So scraping down. Get it all in. Let it go a little bit longer on our medium speed. And then we're going to add our egg very slowly. So I creamed my mixture for a little bit longer, and then I scraped my bowl down, and I'm going to begin adding my egg. So this was 1 egg. I whisked it with a fork to make sure that the yolk and the white was totally incorporated into each other, so that we can pour a steady stream, or just about a couple teaspoons at a time. You don't want to pour your egg too quickly or add the whole egg all at once, because we're making an emulsification. So we have so much fat in our creamed mixture that when we add our egg also has fat. So we're working with a fat in fat emulsion. So this is kind of like making a hollandaise sauce, where you have to add your fat very slowly to your egg in order for it to emulsify. So we're going to be doing that again on like a medium-ish speed. This is a new mixer, so I'm working on about 3 or 4. And I'm going to add a little bit of egg at a time, and that's so that I can make sure that we're fully incorporated. So once that little bit of egg is mixed in, we can add a little bit more. scrape this to add about half and then scrape it down because we want to make sure that we are totally incorporated, totally emulsified, and that it's not breaking. We also made sure that all of our ingredients were at room temperature. And we're going to add a little splash more. And then we're going to scrape it down. So I scraped down my bowl and I'm ready to add the rest of my eggs. Again, slowly. A little bit at a time. You don't want to rush it. It's very important to make sure that your eggs are also at room temperature and that your butter is at room temperature. If only your butter is at room temperature and you're not paying attention to the temperature of your eggs, as soon as you add your whole eggs to your butter, it's going to make your butter seize up and your mixture will break or it will look curdled. If your mixture is curdled, it doesn't mean that your entire recipe is ruined. It's just that the quality will be sacrificed just a little bit. You can see that I'm still nice and creamy. Aerated, kind of looks like a buttercream. This formula has a lot of flour in it compared to the amount of butter and sugar. So I only added half my flour in the bowl and I'm going to pulse it to mix it in. Now, because this is a creamed mixture, we don't want to overwork our gluten. So we're working with an all-purpose flour, which has a protein content of about 10%. If we were to mix this dough like it were bread dough, we would overdevelop the gluten, and our tart dough, or if you were working with like a sugar cookie or another type of a dough that has a creamed mixture, then your gluten would be overworked and you would be left with a texture in the final product that kind of makes you feel like you need to chug a gallon of milk after you drink it or after you eat it. So you want to make sure that you're only mixing this just until it's incorporated. So I'm going to do that by only adding half the flour. So I have half the flour in my bowl and the other half is still in my quart container. And I'm going to pulse my mixture just by turning this to first speed and then back off. First speed and then back off. And that's going to prevent the flour from busting up into my face, and it's also going to prevent the overmixing. And then once it incorporates a little bit, you can let it mix just on first speed, low speed I have it on, until you see the flour disappear. And then you can add your remaining flour. Remember, you don't want to overmix this. So all my flour is in, and again, I'm going to pulse this. Let this mix no longer than 30 seconds, just until the flour is incorporated, and then my dough is done. That's it. This tart dough needs to rest in the refrigerator before I'm ready to work with it. It's very sticky right now, which is why we need to chill it. So I'm going to scrape my bowl. I can see I have a little bit of flour down here. So I'm gonna scrape my bowl down, turn it into plastic wrap, and chill it for about 4 hours.